Every week on this channel, we receive a lot of news. News that has to do with Formula One, which we collect and bring you here. We treat in the best way we know how. But also news that has nothing to do with Formula One, that touches on it tangentially, anecdotes, occasionally exaggerated issues, which we try to ignore, because we believe that this does not interest you. We want you first and foremost, at least a few minutes each day. Leave aside your problems, what worries you, and focus solely and exclusively on your great passion, which is ours. That's why we are racers, which is Formula One. However, there comes a time when sometimes when a topic enters the conversation a lot, when it is mentioned several times in the same week, when there is a response to a first initial comment that is given in an interview, we have to bring the subject to the fore. And it is none other, as you all know, than the interview Antonio Perez, father of Checo Perez, in which he talks about Ralf Schumacher and makes some comments that, well, some media have published in the last few hours. Here you have it. Yeah. They have branded us as homophobes and have said the reprehensible comment of Checo's father to Ralf Schumacher. We're going to talk about this, but we're going to try to explain chronologically, which I think is fair. Ralf Schumacher's story with Checo Perez. This season, it would be impossible to compile all the times that Ralf has spoken about Checo, because the video would not last minutes, but would last hours. But we are going to stay with a headline that has been repeated many times. Ralf saying that Checo will not finish the season with Red Bull. I insist that he will not finish the season with Red Bull. We are just a few weeks away from verifying that this headline, which absolutely no one will remember right now, is false. Checo will finish the season with Red Bull. But this headline off, we have taken anyone from October 30, there have been many more. In the end, what it shows is that there was pressure. That there was premeditated pressure from the Verstappen clan. Why now? Because be careful, Ralf Schumacher does not represent himself. Ralf Schumacher is not a person who gives an opinion, who dedicates himself to expressing his opinion freely in Formula One. No, señor. Ralf Schumacher is a person who works for and for the Verstappen clan. I don't say this. Helmut Marko I saw, who has sometimes joked that this man is as if he were the unofficial spokesman of Red Bull, because he always says what Red Bull doesn't dare to say. What? Let's just say that he always goes a little further. And that's why in the end, he's someone very useful for Red Bull. When you've been seeing headlines like this one all season or even 3 days ago, this news in the English media, Ralf Schumacher thinks he knows something that we don't. I would take the news, compile it, and read one last sentence. Sergio Perez is so far away, at this moment it would be good to see a young man have the opportunity. This message is not from Ralf. This message comes from Helmut Marko. Zero doubts, because we have seen this on many occasions. That's why there comes a time when the more you talk, the more mistakes you make. Checo's father has been talking a lot since the Brazilian Grand Prix, giving many interviews. And I don't just say this for Checo's father. I say it for anyone, for myself. The more you talk, you know that you are going to be subject to more mistakes, the more chances of making a mistake, of making an inaccurate comment, right? Well, this is the interview. If this news was from just 3 days ago, which I believe that is precisely why